Yeah, I don't have my thoughts straight, so this is going to be another stumbling around. Cool. Stumbling and fumbling, that's what you get for not writing a script. We're going off script today. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Yeti. Yeti. I'm terrible at marketing. For those who want the utility of thermos and the arbitrary status symbol of Stanley. Who the fuck is buying these Stanley cups? That's what I want to know. I already know the answer to that. The people who are buying Stanley cups are status-seeking Okay, so today I'm talking about a video that Karlyn Borysenko kind of put out. Karlyn, man, I gotta say, I really like her and I really don't like her for different reasons. I really like Karlyn because there's no one better than her and James Lindsay for exposing what's going on with the queer culture, the gender ideology, all that kind of stuff. At the same time, I really don't like Karlyn because she has a tendency for infighting. It's kind of like you're in the middle of a war and there's like 5 different factions that make up your army, and you're gonna turn to one of them and be like, hey, weren't you the fuckers who did the thing? And it's like, yeah, dude, after we beat them, then can we talk about this? I think that's kind of like where Karlyn kind of, you know, misses the memo. I will always have respect for her and I will always defend her because if they've infiltrated the meeting and recorded it on camera, I don't care who's working the camera. The meeting has been recorded and the meeting is what we're talking about. If someone records people on camera saying some unhinged shit and then we find out, well, who was working the camera? A neo-Nazi? Oh, what the fuck? We get kind of like lost in the, it's not even the weeds, it's like some faraway swamp that doesn't even need to be explored. We're over here in the mountains kind of digging through the mine and you want to be out in the swamp getting lost in the gators, you know? I don't know. So Karlyn Borysenko infiltrated a meeting that was funded by the mayor of Washington, D.C. Now I'm not exactly sure what this meeting is about because it's still relatively fresh and they haven't really put out clipped parts of that meeting yet. But what has been released is a short clip about the ongoing attempt to dismantle gendered spaces by changing the language that we use in order to create a safe space for everyone.
Things that we can do to make sure we're creating safe spaces. We'll send this to you, obviously. This, as we think about what can we do to dismantle gender spaces, gender inclusive language, right? So gendered language is everywhere. So this is very small, but husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. You may hear folks refer to their people as partners or spouses, which is a gender neutral term. Boys and girls, we can talk children, kids, kiddos, young people.
Young people.
Just sit right on that stool, please.
We've heard this before. This isn't anything new. But then she touches on something that I've never heard before.
Brother and sister, we can refer to them as siblings. And something I learned recently for young people in our life who are the children of our siblings, the term that is being used is nibblings, which I really enjoy. So we'll add that to the list as well.
We're no longer gonna refer to our siblings' children as nephews and nieces. Instead, we're gonna refer to them as nibblings. It's so crazy. The reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place was because as I was watching this video about not using brother, sister, not using mother, father, not using niece and nephew anymore, we're only going to use these terms. I had heard this somewhere before. Well, actually, I hadn't heard it before. I read it somewhere. I read it in a book called First They Killed My Father. It's a first-hand account of a woman who survived the Cambodian killing fields. This passage that I'm about to read happens at the part in the book where she and her family, and she is just a child, she's like 4 or 5 years old at this time, are shuffled out of the city, Phnom Penh, and they are made to walk miles and miles for days on end to a small village that they're going to live in. When they arrive at the village, this village is under the control of the Angkar, which is the Angkar. I don't know how to pronounce it, I've only read it. The Angkar was the name of the Communist Party that was currently in control. The Khmer Rouge was the name of the army that took over Phnom Penh and kind of shuffled everyone out. Kind of like Antifa today. It's just a bunch of 20-somethings who have nothing better to do, and they all wear the same black cotton matching sets.
So are you anti, like, capitalism, like you don't like people with money and shit like that?
Well, I mean, the thing...
Because I'm rich as fuck.
When she and her family walk into this village that's now under communist rule, the first thing that happens is all their bags and all their belongings are stripped away, and the chief is walking around telling all the new arrivees what the rules of the village are. These rules are passed down from the Angkor, the Rancor, I don't fucking know. They take her dress and throw it into a pile along with some other clothes and burn it, and this breaks her heart because it was her favorite dress. The chief says, "Wearing colorful clothes is forbidden. You will take off the clothes you have on and burn those as well. Bright colors only serve to corrupt your mind. You are no different from anyone else here, and from now on you will dress in black pants and shirts. A new set will be issued to you once a month. In democratic Kampuchea, we are all equal and do not have to cower to anyone. When the foreigners took over Kampuchea, they brought with them bad habits and fancy titles. The Angkor has expelled all foreigners, so we no longer have to refer to each other using fancy titles. From now on, you will address everyone as Met. For example, he is Met Rune, she is Met Srey. No more Mr., Mrs., Sir, Lord, or His Excellency. Yes, comrade, we reply collectively. The children will change what they call their parents. Father is now Po, and not daddy, pa, or any other term. Mother is Meh. I hold on to Pa's finger even tighter as the chief rants off other new words. The new Khmer have better words for eating, sleeping, working, stranger, all designed to make us equal." So this has happened before, which is what my point is. And I don't think that Cambodia was the only communist country to come up with new words to understand reality. Because there is some sort of axiom or belief that these people agree upon, and that is that we humans speak the world into existence, which we don't. The world exists, and we try and understand the world, and we know if we understand the world if we act on our interpretations and things go well. Relatively speaking. You don't have to get too deep into philosophy to understand if things are going well based on your interpretations of the world. But according to the deconstructionists, there are no interpretations of the world that are objective or reliable, and there are no interpretations of the world that are more valuable or more meaningful, or most importantly, more true than any other interpretation of the world. And that's not true. The schizophrenic who hears voices from his fireplace that says that he must dismantle his neighbor's house in order to burn the wood to appease the fire gods is not experiencing a reliable, a valuable, a truthful interpretation of the world. He is, it's a forbidden word now, crazy. And like, if you haven't figured it out, that's why and those kinds of words are not really allowed anymore. Their goal is twofold. The first part is that they want to be more inclusive with people, and that's what makes it so difficult arguing with this, because it's like, yeah, that's a noble cause. That's a good thing. We want to include other people. But the other goal that they have is that they want to dismantle gendered spaces. They're trying to make it so that we cannot agree on what reality is betwixt each other. I just said betwixt. I'm never fucking drinking coffee again. Holy shit. Welcome to the house of Equa. The reason why they're trying to get rid of these categories is because they're trying to make us Okay, I'm back. It's an attempt to get rid of categories. Why are they trying to get rid of categories? Because they don't want us to agree on what reality is. They want us to be unsure of what reality is. It's submission to the powers that be. It's submission to Big Brother. Now, if what I'm talking about sounds familiar, it's probably ringing some bells in your head. This is Orwellian, and I'll read probably the most well-known passage from the book. The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. His heart sank as he thought of the enormous power arrayed against him, the ease with which any party intellectual would overthrow him in debate, the subtle arguments which he would not be able to understand, much less answer. And yet he was in the right. They were wrong and he was right. The obvious, the silly, and the true had got to be defended. Truisms are true. Hold on to that. The solid world exists. Its laws do not change. Stones are hard. Water is wet. objects unsupported fall toward the Earth's center. With the feeling that he was speaking to O'Brien, and also that he was setting forth an important axiom, he wrote, "Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 makes 4. If that is granted, all else follows." If I am able to say that my mother is my mother, my father is my father, my brother is my brother, my sister is my sister, my nieces and nephews are just that, everything else is fine. Are they just socially pressuring us? That's fine. It's not fine, and it should be argued against, and they should be made fun of, and we should shine the brightest spotlight we possibly can on them. We should not suppress them. We should not take away their freedom of speech.
But I'm saying, if you believe in freedom of speech, you believe in freedom of speech for views you don't like. I mean, Goebbels was in favor of freedom of speech for views he liked, right? So was Stalin. If you're in favor of freedom of speech, that means you're in favor of freedom of speech precisely for views you despise.
We should, in fact, give them a megaphone. We should do what Karlyn Borysenko is doing. We should do what James Lindsay is doing, putting a bright spotlight on them. And you'll notice when you do that, they're not fucking happy about that.
Is this seat taken? You work for Pfizer. My question for you is, why does Pfizer want to hide from the public the fact that they're mutating the COVID viruses?
Is this real life? I'm literally a liar. I was trying to impress a person on a date by lying. This is absurd. You really did. Give me, what is going on here?
Please unlock the door.
They're not happy about being thrust out into the limelight. They're not happy about everyone knowing what they're saying.
Remain on camera and on your best behavior. And again, I'm sorry that we had to change formats last minute. I will spare all of you the really insane website that was sent to me by several people today, sharing all of the horrible things that the right is going to do with disinformation.
Several
so I
people.
appreciate all of us adapting so that I don't have to end up attacked. But also, again, this is how that I know that I've made it.
Did I hook you guys up or what?
But that's what we should be doing. We should be telling the world what they're saying, and we should allow people to think for themselves, which is what they don't want you to do. They. Who is they? Holy shit. That's another thing. Like, we know who they are. We know who they are. They know who they are. The fact that you have to defend yourself, you would lose to them in a debate because they've been circle jerking with each other for so long. They know how to win this shit. They'll back you into a corner and laugh at you when you can't defend yourself. And yet at the end of it all, what's reality is reality, and it's still happening, and we all know it's happening, and they're forcing us to lie to each other about it. But for now, it's just social pressure. For now, in America, in certain states, because there are some states like Michigan and like California who will fine or imprison you and or take away your children if you misgender them. I mean, in Canada, it's been law for a long time, and now I'm going to start the Bill C-16 conversation, and oh my god, the gaslighting that's married to that shit. It's beyond social pressure in certain situations and in some locations. But as long as it's just social pressure, then we can just put it into the marketplace of ideas and just let the best idea win. And that's why they have to suppress people. That's why they have to threaten you with losing your job. That's why they have to shame you publicly. That's why they have to do what they do, because if they don't do that, no one's going to pick up the tools that they've made and start living their life with it. No one's going to pick up nibblings. No one's going to start saying that. The only success that they've really had, as far as I'm concerned, is getting people to call their husband or their wife their partner or their spouse. But I think it was born accidentally because people wanted to say partner to conceal the fact that they were gay, because they were living in a culture back then in maybe like the 80s or the 70s or whatever that wasn't accepting of gay people. I was always pro-gay people. I still am pro-gay. There was an amendment in Minnesota that they tried to put into our state constitution, I think in like 2014, that amended our state constitution that marriage was only between a man and a woman. And I voted no against that amendment, and I would vote no again today. Gay people should have rights. Gay people should be allowed to get married. And it's not even in a religious sense, because I'm not religious. Love the sinner, but hate the sin. I don't think there's anything wrong with being gay. I don't think it's a sin to be gay. I don't think it's an abomination to be gay. But that was the only real success they've had, is getting people to say partner instead of spouse. The party's trying to get you to say that 2 + 2 = 5. And if you don't say 2 + 2 = 5, you're going to lose your job. The party's trying to get you to say that your mom is not your mom, she's your parent. The party is trying to say that you don't have a niece and a nephew, you have a nibbling. You want to hear an axiom? Let those who have eyes see, and let those who have ears hear. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and blessed are your ears, for they hear. If my 17-year-old self could see me now, I'd kick me in the nuts.